National Hispanic Heritage Month started out as a week-long celebration to recognize the achievements and accomplishments of notable Hispanic Americans in 1968. 20 years later, in 1988, the celebration extended to 30 days from September 15th to October 15th. Why not the first of the month to the next month? Because many Central American countries gained independence within that time frame. In fact, 5 different countries achieved liberation from Spain on the same exact day of September 15th, which are Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. With the exception of icons like Celia, Cruz, and Roberto, Clemente, Afro-Latinos are often overlooked and underrepresented in this celebration, which can largely be attributed to global anti-Blackness or the inability to grasp the concept of racial and ethnic intersectionalities. According to the Library of Congress, the term Afro-Latinx and its variations refers to individuals of Latin America or of Latin American descent who are also of African ancestry. For Afro-Latinx folks in the United States, the added identity of living as an American further complicates their sense of identity, creating the sense that their distinct racial, ethnic, and national identities struggle to coexist. In the hip-hop industry, where those of Hispanic descent are the apparent minority, that underrepresentation proves further evident when only a select number of artists from its demographic achieve commercial success and mainstream recognition. Of that small percentage, most of which appear mestizo or Caucasian adjacent. On the West Coast, where Mexican culture is prominent, there was Frost, who's credited for creating the first Chicano rap album, and Cypress Hill, who is the best-selling Latin group of all time, being the first to have platinum and multi-platinum albums. Across the country, New Yorkers Fat Joe and the late Big Pun reigned supreme. Fat Joe, the half Puerto Rican, half Cuban leader of Terror Squad, whose career has spanned over 30 years, rose from the underground scene and has maintained a consistent presence across the Billboard charts. Additionally, he discovered Big Pun, who only released one album in his lifetime but gained the respect of the industry and the streets before his passing. His debut, Capital Punishment, was nominated for a Best Rap Album Grammy before his passing and achieved the first solo Latin hip-hop record to go platinum. Together, they became the faces of Boricuas and hip-hop from the Bronx. Although Afro-Latinos in hip-hop are not as particularly recognized as their counterparts, Nori has been the most vocal representative of Afro-Latinidad by equally exclaiming pride in both his African-American and Puerto Rican lineage. First in his early rhymes and through his close relationship with Big Pun, followed by his pursuit of successfully spreading the sound of reggaeton and increasing its popularity across the globe. More recently, Noriega has utilized his podcast Drink Champs as a platform to encourage fellow Afro-Latino rappers who appear as guests on the show to be more vocal about their heritage.
Because
so you're Dominican.
It's a two-part question, right? Because we found out she's Dominican. We love that. Then
we always knew he was Dominican.
Yes, but then we.
You gotta start saying you Dominican, because I see interviews with you, and you say my father's Dominican, and it hurts Dominicans, and we don't like that. I'm not a Dominican. I'm not a Dominican. You gotta say I'm Dominican. Like I'm a Latino. Like I use being Latino, so and I use being black too. You know what I'm saying? You gotta start being more Dominican. I'm gonna throw that out there. I
just stick to what I know.
No, listen, I'm gonna be honest, Mr. Lee,
help him out. I know how to be a nigga.
I'm taking Spanish classes. Listen, I'm also a Puerto Rican who can't speak shit.
Yeah, see.
For AZ and Fabulous, Brooklyn rappers who both have African-American mothers that raised them and Dominican fathers who abandoned their families at an early age, they don't appear to display the same pride in La Cultura, which could be attributed to the paternal absence in the formative years of their lives.
I mean, I wish Fab would rap his shit a little bit more. Word.
Maybe after this,
I wish Jewel's would rap it a little bit more. Jim Jones, ironically, I see Jim one day and I was like, "You a nigga Rican?" And he was like, "Yeah," and he had a tattoo of it. So he definitely, I think Jones belongs on the list.
All right.
Very much so. Like and that was.
Yeah, let people know I'm Puerto Rican. Can't wait, nigga. Word up. People don't be knowing really. They be like, he faking, I think. Yeah, like, fuck out. I'm Puerto Rican, nigga. My pops is born in Puerto Rico. My grandmother don't know no English. She watched the Spanish channel all day.
Similar to Nori, Jim Jones, founding member of the Diplomats, had a Puerto Rican father who passed away at an early age, but revered the man that he was despite the limited span of time spent together. In the same vein, they both use music to celebrate their Boricua heritage. Nori led the way in 2004 with the reggaeton smash hit Oye Mi Canto, featuring Nina Sky, Daddy Yankee, Gemstar, and Big Mato. And 20 years later, Jim Jones followed in his footsteps with Broken Spanglish that blends reggaeton, Latin trap, and dembow. Neither rapper spoke fluent Spanish prior to creating their projects, but took lessons in order to optimize their craft and pay respect to their culture.
That's
And
a
I
New
did a
York Puerto
Spanish
Rican.
album, so I'm out of line.
You out of
I'm out of line.
pocket.
I'm
You
out of
out of
pocket. But it's never too late. I'm 42 years old. Who's been in our Spanish classes so far?
On the other hand, Lloyd Banks was raised by his Puerto Rican mother while his African American father was in his life, but not a consistent presence. Like Nori, he was equally immersed in both cultures, which wasn't hard to accomplish while growing up in Queens. From Lafrac to Southside, LaGuardia to JFK, it's most ethnically and racially diverse borough in New York City, according to the Census Bureau.
Your mom is Puerto Rican, if I'm not mistaken. Your father is black. Growing up, did you have any issues with identity or any issues with those cultures clashing?
Nah, not really. If anything, it let me, it made me more, diverse, more understanding of what was happening outside, because like my grandfather was from Ponce in Puerto Rico. My grandmother and them, they from down south, and then my cousins, like one of my cousins, his mother is Jamaican, so I would get different vibes wherever I went. I could go to my cousin's house, he's Puerto Rican and Jamaican, so I'm hearing two different kinds of music. Today I had jerk chicken, rice and beans, and then tomorrow I might have rice and beans, roast chicken, and something that my grandmother made. So it was like I just had bits and pieces of everything, and it let me understand. I think what's weird, and not to disrespect anybody, but I just feel like where I grew up, sometimes in poverty, be more receptive to new things.